Hi everyone, let me share with you today a very long interview between Tony Robbins and many other marketing gurus in his series of Money Masters. It's really insightful, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, peace out.
They're just, you know. Again, there are thousands of other little tricks.
Let me turn it from the beginning.
As far as individuals go, there probably are 10 other people that I talked about.
Just because, I mean, you're engaged. So you start out, you go out and start to create a blog, you start to share.
I'm turning to the very first episode.
About this idea of creating a niche. And we've been talking a lot
Well,
with the video cameras. We said, why don't you?
say, Tony, a hard time getting
People. Salespeople.
So there are 10 steps. Right, so now you've gotten good. What I'd like to share with you right now are 10 steps to handling any objection. We're halfway there. Right, so now you've gotten good at practicing. What are the last two steps? So there are 10 steps. What's the most expensive process in almost any business process? Most of us know it's really obtaining a new customer. What if there was a way to get new customers, not only get new customers, get them to raise their hand, want to do business with you, but get them to trust you immediately that cost you nothing up front? Or if there's a way to actually tap in and have your own distribution channel, your own marketing channel, where the marketing and distribution was done by somebody professionally and didn't have to spend any money up front? Well, while you might be thinking of talking about affiliates, and affiliates might provide an aspect of this, we're going to talk today about something called partnership marketing. And the gentleman that I'm going to be introducing you to is a dear friend of mine. His name is Brendan Burchard, and he's a gentleman who really is one of those new money masters because he thinks radically differently than most of the people do, even in the internet marketing space. And I think you're going to find this session to be incredibly valuable, whether you own a traditional business and you're trying to figure out, how do I grow in this marketplace? How do I get those new customers? How do I deepen those relationships? How do I go to scale? Or whether you're somebody who's starting a business from scratch, internet marketer, someone of that nature. So let me start out by welcoming you. Good to see you, my friend.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks.
Listen, you've had a wild journey. I think your journey is as interesting as your content. You started out at Accenture. I want to give people a little bit of your background first, and then we'll talk about, what the differentiation is and this idea of partnership marketing. But how did you get involved in Accenture? I mean, you're still just a kid. You're a young man. Everybody teases you because you look so young. You're what, 33 now?
33.
Tell us a little about your journey on the business side, and then we'll kind of go to your personal side and then talk about what can make a difference.
On the business side, I wrote a book in grad school called The Student Leadership Guide, and it was leadership focused, and that kind of gave me a name in the leadership space. And Accenture came through one day and said, hey, we're looking for leadership development consultants. You know this area. Come in and help us with this. You're great at helping leaders communicate better. You know the philosophy really well. You look too young, but I think we can put you to work. So I said, great. So I went in, and we ended up building leadership programs at JCPenney and eBay and Best Buy and Nordstrom and Levi's and Walgreens. And big leadership programs or big merchant account programs. And it helped me understand, how does corporate America really work? And it gave me the chops to really understand how business works. And that process was invaluable, especially for a young guy getting to see it, but also being the age I was while I was seeing that, I didn't have a context for it. So everything that was creative, everyone kept saying, that's so innovative, that's so new, and that's why the customers kept coming and coming and coming. So we went from JCPenney, it was Best Buy, Nordstrom, Levi's, Walgreens, so fast because they said, this kid has new innovative ideas that nobody else has, and he's doing it in a way that's more collaborative than most people.
Right.
And I've always had that little piece about me. I collaborate more than everybody else does. I give more than everybody else does. I come with more ideas about how people can succeed than anybody else does, at least the people I'm usually around.
Right.
And that's helped a lot.
Well, also Accenture, I guess you had the privilege at that time of being sent to all those innovation seminars.
Yeah.
So they sent you all the best, so you have a huge database that no one would have your age normally by any stretch.
46 some different innovation trainings all around the world, and literally from the best guys, the very top people. So I was having mentorship, you know me well enough to say, I always say, I've learned from people.
Yeah.
I didn't just come up with stuff. I kind of synthesized a lot of it,
Right.
but I definitely stand on the shoulders of a lot of guys who come up with big ideas, and then I just help people apply it in leadership or business.
Now, you were heading in that corporate environment, that corporate world, and you had something personally happen in your life that kind of jarred you, and I think brought you more into how to integrate your heart and your mind and your emotions into the business side of things as well. Share with people a little bit what happened.
Yeah, oddly, what was before all of that?
Oh, I didn't know.
And so,
that was before that. Wow.
19-year-old kid, and I had a horrible first year of college. I mean, not that everybody has a great first year of college, but mine was really hard. And I went through just a terrible breakup with the first woman I ever loved. We were high school sweethearts, thought we were going to get married, very close. And emotionally, when we broke up, I just rock bottom. And then I saw in the school newspaper there was a job working in the Dominican Republic. And I thought, I don't know where that is, but I know it's not in Montana. I need to get the hell out of here, So I go down to the Dominican Republic, work a summertime job. It's great. I'm down with a good friend. And one night we're returning from a client's house, and we're cruising down this road going 85 miles an hour. And it was a brand new road, so it felt right, but all the windows were down, favorite songs on the radio. And we go down 85 miles an hour, and we came up on a corner that in the U.S. would have one of those big, yellow U-turn shaped signs, watch out, slow down. But we were going so fast. And I remember to this day, Kevin grabbing the wheel, cranking on it and pulling on it, says, "Brendan, hold on." And we go around the corner, and we slide off, and we start flipping off the corner. And I think a lot of people have been through this before. We're in that situation, everything goes slow motion, and these thoughts start going through my mind of, oh my gosh, did I live? If this is really it, did I live? Did I live my life? Was I alive and vibrant and passionate? All the things that you've taught so many millions of people to do.
It was Brandon Burchard. It teach you the way how to make leverage and be on the shoulder of big corporations in order to help you to build your own brand and reputations. But it is not that interesting. But the next episode will be about the interview between Tony Robbins and Chet Holmes. He is a legendary marketing strategist, and I really love him. So just listen to that. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Critical point is like, wow, a lot of people listen to this and they go, what's the view? We gave them a bunch of flip video cameras, and they...
That process that you've done, give us another example of, you started to describe how you've done that in a nonprofit area as well. How is it?
I tell entrepreneurs,
Hi, it's Tony Robbins. Welcome to another edition of the New Money Masters. This session is going to be a very special one. I have an opportunity to introduce you to a dear friend of mine and a partner, and a gentleman who's helped businesses from all over the world. More than 75 of the Fortune 500 have sought him out. He wrote the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine. His name is Chet Holmes. He's a gentleman who took 9 of Charlie Munger's divisions and literally doubled their sales in the first year, something Charlie had never seen. And Charlie's a multi-billionaire and one of the most successful businessmen in the world. So Chet has got quite a track record of making businesses go to a whole nother level. And what I love about Chet is he makes it so simple. We're going to show you some principles in this interview that once you understand them, you can apply them whether you're a web marketer or you own a car dealership or you got a candy shop, someplace in Korea. about our clients just recently you did this with was the lady who had that new contraption I got in all my houses now that takes care of mice or rats. Give an example of that, if you will.
That's a great example. Again, the whole idea here is to try and appeal to a wider audience or to motivate an audience that didn't exist before to actually take some action. So most of us, if we have a mouse problem, then we go and we get, a mouse trap, which kills the mouse, or we get rat poison or mouse poison, something like that, which again kills the mouse. You never know where they're going to die. They could die in your walls or whatever. And there was this woman, she's a little small company, I won't give her numbers because she's a privately held company, but a small company. And her husband had a farm. And so they didn't want to use traps because the farm animals would get the traps on them. They didn't want to use rat poison because it would poison the farm animals. So she had been an herbist in college, and she found out that there's a mixture of herbs and fragrances that just is highly offensive to a mouse. So if there were mice all around us and we just dropped these little mouse pouches all around the floor here, you'd see the mouse just scurry as if like you and I would be with a skunk. But meanwhile, to you and I, it smells like a Christmas tree. It's like pine scent or something. It smells really good. So I said, well, what kinds of problems do mice cause? Well, I don't know. Well, actually, they set about 800 fires a year. Now, I don't have the exact data, but it's an unbelievable number like that. They cause $8 billion worth of damage a year. And the reason that they do this is because mice look at wire as food. Because wire is made out of petroleum, and petroleum is food to a mouse. So if they're hungry, they're going to eat the wires. And so you go to start up your tractor, and tractor explodes. So they actually the numbers are unbelievable. So we started showing all this data, and they carry diseases. 2 mice will have 26 offspring in 1 year. 2 mice, And so anyway, so we put all this into her, what we call now a core story. It's kind of like if you had the chance to get in front of your whole audience all at once, what would your full core story be? And we force companies to think through what that would be, because most of them aren't ready. They have no idea. They don't know what they would say. And in fact, the best way to
like some help, what are some of the services that we can offer people?
Well, here's a quote that I think everybody should embrace, and that is, if you really believe in what it is that you do, if you just really believe in it, then you have a moral obligation to tell people. And that's why I say, if you go after those dream clients and you really think you can do something for Microsoft, and you have to hit Microsoft every single week for 2 years, but at the end of the day, they're buying, $400 million worth of software from you because you didn't give up, that's worth it every day. So it is worth for us to say that, the reason you and I are partnered is because it enables us to reach more people with fantastic services. So they're at businessbreakthroughs.com, it's everything there. You can get coaching, you can get fantastic training. One of the best places for people to start is on there. There's a web seminar. Just like I'm telling, in fact, go just as a student, go just as a student to see how an organization is run virtually. Let us be your example and go and take one of our web seminars. They're fantastic. They're with 20 CEOs at a time. They're really great. You only pay if you think they're great, and you only pay after you attend. So we make it so you have no risk whatsoever.
Money back guarantee.
It's better than a money back guarantee. We don't even charge your card until after you go. So if you don't think it's worth it, we put the phone number up, and you call this phone number and you say, my name is Bill Smith. It wasn't worth it for me. You say, okay, Mr. Smith, your card will never be charged. So we go better than a money back guarantee. And again, by the way, almost everybody pays. So, every time you get a college kid who shouldn't have been on there in the first place, but, for serious business owners all pay because the information is fantastic. And of course, it's not that expensive either. When we go live, it was very expensive. So we have
because we don't have to send the salespeople someplace. We don't have to fly them. We don't have to
rent a hotel room. We don't have to supply coffee. They're taking it from their home. So we have Take It Virtual, which teaches you how to go virtual. We have the best CRM system in the world. It's very low cost, very inexpensive for people to use, and it's easy. We have personality testing services, and those are pretty scary accurate. In fact, it's funny because recently I just met someone, and in every way they appeared to be just a total star. And we put them through this personality test thing, $48, best $48 you'll ever spend in your life. And came back, and what I love about it is it's color coded. So on the left hand side it's all red, don't hire this person. And the yellow, it's caution, caution, caution. And on the right, it's green. If it's all green, just hire them. They're going to be fine. If it's got even a little bit of yellow, usually the person doesn't work. So anyway, these tests are so accurate. I hired this gal a year ago, and she went through all the stuff we put someone through. And at the end, there were 4 left, and she was just head and shoulders. Give her the test. Comes back, the test has got some red areas in it, and I bring them up to her, and she goes, "Oh, that's crazy. That's not me at all." And she convinced me. Hired her a year later. That's exactly why I let her go. Everything this test said that we were going to have a problem with her. Testers,
where it shows up the most is in salespeople is one of the highest levels, because you find out what somebody's real nature is, not just how they present. Because when people want a job, they can pour the juice on, but the amount of time, energy, and money you spend training somebody, getting somebody up to speed, and be able to eliminate all that and just focus on the people that are their nature matches the job, makes things change completely.
Right. So for $48, best $48 you'll ever spend. In fact, if you test your current employees, it'll tell you every problem they have and how to manage them better. But, that's things people need. And by the way, in order to provide that service, we went through 11 different testing companies. Ones that charge $800, ones that charge $300. Well-known names I won't mention now, but anybody who's doing testing, you're paying a lot of money, and a lot of those tests are not that accurate. This one is scary accurate. And so, of course, core story research, and if you have trouble, one of these people is having trouble with their website, where do you find a good webmaster? I mean, we went through 6 or 7 of those guys before we found a real company with, they've got a whole staff and employees and departments, and they're cheap, and they're not ridiculously expensive. So everything that we've done or we've built has been with the sole desire to deliver something that is of extreme value that you're going to probably buy anyway, and you just want to buy it from somebody that has put them through their paces, like you put me through my paces, or I would not be here in front of you right now.
And in pieces like one of the great pieces we've offered now is getting people, in Google, if you're not on that first page, it doesn't matter where you are, you're not seen. And people pay pay-per-click all the time, and the real value is natural search, where you're put right there for the nature of that. And that's one of the services I'm most proud about that we do. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Well, what's great about that is, again, this was developed internally for our own usage by making sure we optimize your brand and my brand and other brands. And then now we actually will guarantee someone hundreds of first page search terms landing on the first page of Google.
That's our absolute guarantee. You don't pay unless you're on the first page of Google by the time we're done. So I'm really proud. Be able to promise that result and deliver it consistently has been really interesting. But we've got the tools and the right people.
And no pay-per-click. This is all organic. And again, now you blend that with education-based marketing, meaning like, let's use chiropractic as an example, or massage therapy. And I go into Google and I type in massage therapy in Los Angeles, okay? And all these massage therapies come up, and they get prices and things like that, all tactical. And one says the 5 biggest mistakes people make when they go to choose a massage therapist. Well, just out of curiosity, so there's 12 on this page, let me just go read these 5 things really quick. And now if we do a really great job there, who's going to end up? So it's like a preemptive strike. We're going to take everybody out of the market just to teach them, and then when they're reading, guess who they're going to buy from? So it all works together, and that's one of the things that we do. And again, it's guaranteed in writing. Hundreds of search terms where you're on the first. And by the way, does the second page of Google matter? I mean, does anybody ever go to the second page? I mean, really, it's all. In fact, if it's not the first 5 or 6 of them, it's bad. Well, but yeah, that's a great service.
I just thank you for that. Excuse the commercial, except we don't excuse it, because if you use the services, you'll find them valuable. But want to make sure in this session you got extraordinary value. So in summary, it all comes down to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Don't do what everybody else is doing. If you do the same thing everybody's doing, at best, if you do it better than they are, you're going to get an incremental improvement. But if you can use education marketing, if you can grab those customers, not just that are looking or might be open, but the larger audience, and engage them with you, you're going to start to really begin to have a much larger base of people to be able to market from. If you can find those key buyers, those ideal buyers, and focus on them and develop a strategy, you can spend less money going after who you really want instead of the mass audience. And when you finally do get them, the payoff is so much larger. If you can put yourself in a position where you start to really think about your affiliate marketing, so you get a larger base out there, or you start to look at, how you can get some salespeople going to work for you. All of these 4 strategies have doubled sales again and again in companies all over. And then it's just a matter of following a simple system so that you keep making it better on an ongoing basis. So fundamental strategies, basic strategies that worth tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars depending on the size of your company, and or billions as it has for some of our clients here. So hope that this has been really helpful for you. Jeff, before we go, what keeps you going at this stage? I mean, you've done incredibly well, and you came to me and I was like, well, we don't need to do this thing, but you're so damn passionate. You just would not give up. I mean, literally, 5 years you worked with us, adding value to us, at no charge. Saying, Tone, you really got to see this. And when I started seeing the results and started seeing so many businesses in trouble, I was like, they need this stuff. It helped us. We weren't in trouble, but imagine a company that needs a boost. Why do you still do this after all these decades of turning things around?
That's an easy answer, and I say it every week to our team, and of course we're all virtual, so we're all on the telephone, got the whole team on the phone, and I say, look guys, you have a moral obligation. I tell them, if you don't believe in what we do, go work somewhere else. But if you believe in what we do and you can really help people, then you have a moral obligation to try and bring this to as many people as possible, and I believe we can help people live that life that they want to live. And most business owners, what they really create is a job, not a business. And so an example might be, we've got a singing coach that we're helping, and this guy never even thought of hiring salespeople. And then now what's happening is we're helping create such a machine, he needs to hire other singing coaches to take it up. So by the time we're done, he'll actually have a business where instead of trading his time for dollars, where he couldn't even take but a vacation, every time he took a vacation he's losing thousands of dollars, he can take a vacation, he's got 16 other vocal coaches that are working for him, teaching his method, and he's basically in Paris for the month of July. So, that's why we go into business, is so that we can get that leverage. Most people say, I wanted to be my own boss. Well, and unfortunately, that can end up being the biggest horror scene of their life, because now the business owns them, they don't own it. So I do it because I love putting people in a position in their life where, just that example, that singing coach, that guy was trapped. And he's been doing it for 30 years, and in just 10 minutes of the kind of strategies you and I are talking about here today, he goes like, that's exactly what I need to do. He knew it was right. He knew he wanted to do it. And in his case, I said he charges $1,200 a month. He's the most expensive, and his clients are like Celine Dion. He's a top guy. But, right now with the economy, he's in trouble. So we told him, if you gave up $600 of that $1,200, or all $1,200 of it, but now out of every 10 clients you sign up, 6 or 7 of them stay for a year, you're going to make more money on that. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So now put somebody in there who's lives or dies to make your business successful, because that's how they make their living. So I do it to help other people.
I know, I've seen you do it. I think you've made a really good point. I would say to you, ask yourself the question, what are you doing all this for? If it's not your mission, you're probably not going to do well in business. If you're just doing it for economics, it's too hard. I've had so many friends over the years who become the best in the world at what they do in their businesses. And while they wanted to make money, they certainly did, but underneath it was just an incredible passion. They wanted to bring something to the world. Donna Karen is wanted to make women feel beautiful. She never felt beautiful, wanted to make feel beautiful. That was her passion. And that's what got her through all those ups and downs and, all the tough times, is because even she wasn't making money, she was going to find a way, because it was larger than just the economics. And as a result, she's done so well. Steve Wynn is a friend of mine who kind of helped rebuild Las Vegas, now has the Wynn on the Encore and some of the nicest places there. And his certainly always was interested in making money, but his whole thing was, I want to create places that drive people crazy, like it's nowhere else. I'm going to create, a dancing waterfall that goes up 100 feet in the air, and it's tied to the music. It's having something you're so passionate about. Otherwise, all we're talking about is just going to sound like strategies and tactics to you. If you've got a hunger, if you've got that singing coach, if you've got some skills, some ability, some product, some service that you really love, then what you got to do is not become self-employed. Because self-employed means you got a job. What you really got is start to build a business. Something that can live beyond you, something that can add value while you're sleeping, something that can touch people's lives, even when you're not there. And as a person that's driven by mission, person since the earliest age, for me, it's always been about how do you change somebody's life. I certainly know how to do business successfully, but what's kept me in the game is staying focused on what my purpose and what my mission is. So along with all that we've talked about, you might want to revisit, why did you get in this game? Why did you decide to involve yourself in a business and start this business? Get reassociated that emotion and then say, okay, either I'm going to do this on my own, or I'm going to get some help, but either way, this is going to be a new day. It's going to be a new direction for my business. I'm not going to let the economy or the perception of it take over my mind, because money is there, people are spending, the opportunity is there. You just got to decide, who do you want to serve? Who's the best possible client? What is going to meet their needs better than anybody else? How am I going to have that unbelievable competitive advantage that bulletproofs me against everybody else and takes away the business from other people else? This is a world that's a competition for adding value. And if you can get reassociated to that, there's so many strategies, so many techniques, and Money Mastery is about bringing you the best. And today we spent some time with my dear friend and partner here, who's shared with you just some of the basic fundamentals that can give you that advantage. Start right now. So when you turn this thing off, don't just turn it off. Start to think, okay, where can I go do the research on my core story? You know, who is my ideal market? Who would be my ideal customer? Write it down. Get specific. Where do they live? Where can I reach them? Do I want to get a salesperson? I can't tell how many times I talk to business people and they'll say, oh yeah, I kind of know that. I kind of understand that. I always tell people, if you're not doing it, you don't know it. If you heard something before, you have the idea, you have the concept, and I always tell people that and $3 will almost get you a Starbucks. You know, I mean, it's like knowledge is not power. Knowledge acted on is power. And the whole point of this Money Masters is not just to stimulate your thinking, but stimulate you to action. So get on describing what you're going to go after. Get on your plan as soon as the thing turns over, or go to businessbreakthroughs.com if you want us to serve you. But do something this thing stops, so that this, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever we ended up here being, is something that moves you forward in your business, in your direction of converting your dreams into reality and taking your mission and getting it to show up when you get to enjoy it, and ultimately have that freedom and lifestyle that business is all about. The worst thing you hear business people say all the time is they'll say, why'd you get in business? And they go, well, I'm going to start a new business so I can have more free time. That's like saying, I want to have a kid so I can have more free time. This is about getting in the game. This is about hustle. That's how you're going to beat everybody else now. Do what nobody else does. When people say, I work all day, and I say, what is that? And they go, well, I'm 9 to 5. And I'm saying, okay, well, what are you doing from 7 to 1? There's a whole nother day available for you. If your business is not where you need it to be, now's the time to give up. Because when everybody else freaks out, when everybody else pulls back, when everybody's going, the economy's terrible, if you can do more for other people, you will dominate that market. You will be the brand. You will be the one that people talk about, and you'll get the benefit of serving more people, called greater economic freedom and simultaneously a hell of a lot of pride. So that's my rant. Yes.
And there's a study that shows...
Of course you know the study. Tell me, what study?
There's a study that shows that if you market more in a bad economy, at the other end, that you will grow, and again, I'm not exactly like 200% greater market share over those that don't market, and it lasts for 4 years after the bad economy is over.
Yeah. You give yourself the breadth. I mean, some of the biggest companies in the world were started during the recession or depression. Disney in the depression, right? CNN in a recession. Microsoft in a recession. If you can do well now, you don't have to worry. You'll be the dominant force. This is what separates, according to sound, the men and women from the boys and girls. This is a chance for you to really take it to the marketplace. And we hope that this series has helped to inspire you a little bit to get up and not just do the same things. Do something different. Get your core story. Get your key ideal client. Get yourself some salespeople. Systematize the whole process, and you'll watch your business grow, and this will be well worth the time you took to watch it. Hopefully maybe watch again in a while. So thanks for watching. Inc. Chat's great.
Thank you for having me. What he said. That is to say, what if I could put you in front of a giant audience of all your potential buyers right now? First of all, are you ready? Are you guys ready? The answer is no. I just did this at big event with you, and 3 people in the audience raised their hand. And
all clients of ours.
All clients, exactly. The only ones in the audience who were ready, because we force them to be ready. And then the other thing is, just write the title for that. If you're home here, just write, what would be the title? You walk out there, you've got 50,000 potential buyers right now. What would you say? What would be your title? Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk about. And so when we force people to do that exercise, almost all the titles are focused on themselves. why my, rat poison is good or better than anybody else's, or why my Homex homes are better than anybody else's. So what we force them to do is say something like, how would you like to reduce the chance of death in your family, make your children have higher levels of self-esteem, make sure they're more successful in life? So those are all like setting up a buying criteria before I even try to sell you. But now if I'm an audience, I'm way more interested in that than I am in you telling me about your Homex homes. So it's kind of good.
So let's do an example. An example is you talk about this as kind of the stadium pitch. And so whether I'm at home and I'm internet marketer and I want to grab people's attention, what most people do is they write headlines or they do their presentation or they make their video, and it appeals to a very, very small percentage of the audience. And this is what I really learned from you that was so valuable, is there is a predictable audience that's open to what you have. So anybody can sell anything. You can put out any web video, or you can put up a website. If you get any traffic at all, a certain percentage of the people are in the market to buy what you have, and you might be there at the right time. But maybe let's actually walk people through that stadium pitch, so that if you're at home and you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about, okay, how do I have a competitive advantage? The answer is, it doesn't matter if you use Facebook, Twitter, direct marketing, direct mail, email, a salesperson,
radio, advertising.
You still have to have a structure of what you put out in a world where everybody's trying to grab people's attention. You need something to grab their attention right now that's going to make them listen. And if you make your offering so tight, so small, you're only going to have a small number of people respond to you. Everything is about not only how to capture the audience and get them to come to where you are, but get them to stay there and do business with you. And this is what I think one of your greatest skills. You've done it for 3 decades. So walk us through that stadium pitch. What you're basically saying is, if I was going to put my video out there, if I was going to stand up personally in front of an audience of 50,000 people, if I was going to have an ad do it, a radio ad, and it was going to hold up and people are all going to continue to listen and not get up and leave the stadium, what percentage of those people are going to be listening no matter what?
Okay. So at any given time, you have about 3% of the population that drives all of commerce. So again, I prove this all the time. I'll be in an audience and I'll say, how many people in the market right now for a car? 3%. Raise their hand. About 3%. Then I'll say, how about
real estate or
furniture? Right.
Furniture,
different
anything.
3%. Or how about tires for your car? Different 3%.
Yeah.
So at any given time, that's driving all of commerce. But what if you could get them? So I had a client that sold exercise equipment, perfect example, and all their ads were like 40% off. I mean, what else can they say? We have exercise equipment, we have it 40% off, special sale. So everything they did was to try and get that guy who's buying now. So if you look at the pyramid, you have 3% buying now. You have another, at any given time, for any given product, you have another 6 or 7% who are what we call open to it. Kind of like, yeah, I'm open to that. I'm thinking about getting an elliptical machine right now. I'm kind of open to that. I'm not out there actively buying.
Or my lease is coming up on my car. And
Right.
It's not over yet.
Right.
But, I'm going to look at it soon.